right, my next guest is a truly remarkable man. I called him a living legend earlier because I think he is, but that's going to embarrass him greatly, and his mates will be giving him a lot of stick about it. During his missions in the Middle East, Australian SAS soldier Anthony Harry Moffitt found cricket to be an effective escape from the conflict. Now, Harry served in the Australian Defence Force for more than 25 years. He's a collector by nature, and Harry returned home from each of his 11 deployments with a cricket bat, signed by those he fought alongside in Afghanistan, in Iraq and in East Timor. And etched on those 11 bats are the signatures of countless war heroes, and their stories are told in Moffitt's extraordinary memoir, aptly titled 11 Bats. Anthony Moffitt joins me now from Melbourne. Harry, this is a remarkable book, mate. It gave me an incredible insight into you. It gave me an incredible insight to the people you served with and the job that you did, but also it gave me a new understanding and appreciation of cricket. What struck me is that it's a game that can be played anywhere, in a battlefield, in a kitchen, even in a car. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Cory. It's a pleasure to come along and chat about the bats.
So which of the bats means the most to you, Harry? I mean, 11 significant mementos, but one of them must hold special pride of place. Which one would it be and why?
I think without doubt, the bat from 2008 with Sean McCarthy's signature on it, and the other men and women I served with during that deployment. As you may remember, Sean McCarthy was killed in an IED ambush just hours after we played a game. I think on the cover of the book is the image that Sean snapped of us playing cricket only hours before that ambush. You know, when a mate loses a life or a mate's seriously injured, I think that nothing steals the mind more than that. So yeah, that means holds a very special place for me.
Well, that actually held a very special moment for me too, because it brought home the reality of what you were doing on all your service and what all ADF people on deployment do. They risk their lives, and things can be as normal as they are, and then one moment you lose someone who you've served alongside, that you've grown to know and love, and you know how deeply that's going to affect people. But how did cricket help to minimise some of those stresses, some of those anxieties, which every service person must have felt?
Yeah, definitely. It's a remarkable game like that. I love sports full stop, but cricket has this way of bringing people in together. Everybody gets a bat, everybody gets a bowl, and the banter and you know, taking a wicket kind of lifts the mood. I remember after a suicide bombing in Tarankout, we went in there first in 2005. And we spent the entire day triaging a lot of civilians, women and children, and tending to the wounded, dozens of wounded and dying. And that afternoon we were very flat, and someone grabbed the bat and the ball and wandered out and started playing cricket. And it wasn't long before, as I said, a wicket was taken and there was a bit of banter. It just lifted the mood. But we've also used it to gain intelligence. We've used games of cricket to build rapport with the locals. But ultimately, I think it's a real tonic and a real way to just relax and unwind and concentrate on something else with a bit of banter and humour, which is a great protective thing for mental resilience in those environments.
Yeah, and I'm sure everyone who's played backyard cricket knows you make the rules up as you go. Did you have six and outs and one hand, one bounce and all those things for the people who aren't very accomplished like me?
Absolutely, and I think one of the special things about cricket is its inclusiveness in that regard. It doesn't matter your age or gender or whether you're you know, good or bad. Everybody gets in, and inherent in some of the rules. You know, you can't be out first ball is a bit of fairness, but yeah, there's a few sneaky rules chucked in around those games. You can imagine.
Yeah, well, they're made up all over Australia and all over the world, I think, on the spot. But you have got some interesting signatures on the bats as well, not just of your fellow soldiers. What's the significance of those to you and to your service in the ADF?
Yes, it's right, Cory. All the Prime Ministers from the time, Governors General. We've got a few generals on there, including our own Jim Molan and Stanley McChrystal, the US Commander in Afghanistan in I think around 2012 or 2010. time. But also we have some rebel leaders on there, and we got Alfredo Renardo, and curiously his name's signed just below Jose Ramos Horta's signature as well. And we've also got a couple of royals, Prince Harry and Prince Philip as well. So, but it's definitely the signatures of all the dozens of men and women that I've served with overseas. Some of them are no longer with us. So I think the bats are a great artefact, not just of my service or Special Operations Service, but also the entirety of the ADF, who've done such a wonderful job in Afghanistan and elsewhere, Iraq, Timor-Leste and other places around the globe. We do a great job, the ADF.
Harry, you mentioned a couple of names there, and just for the benefit of viewers at home, Jose Ramos Horta was subject to an assassination attempt in East Timor. You've got his attempted assassin on there as well, is that correct?
That's right. On the same bat, only a centimetre apart, I managed to get both of their signatures, and I guess that there's a real historical inflection point in that assassination attempt by Alfredo Renardo, who came down out of the hills to I suppose, attempt that assassination. Was killed himself during that attempt.
Well, having read the book, the mention of General Jim Molan, my former Senate colleague and a sensational guy, it's worth reading just for that, although he's blanked it from his memory apparently, Harry, so we won't go there today. But the book mixes some very light-hearted moments with also brutal honesty of warfare. And these are very dark periods of time. They must be very troubling for you in service. Were they difficult to write, or was it cathartic to be able to put them down on paper?
Oh, absolutely cathartic, and I would encourage anyone, especially people who are in mission critical type teams that experience extreme events. It does take its toll on individuals and teams and the families as well, which I touch on in the book. But the experience for me for writing was definitely cathartic. I did it over 3 months in the Thames Valley in UK while I was playing and watching some cricket. And it was just a way to journal and bring to my career to an end, I guess, in 2015. These are troubling times, Cory, and it's probably the worst time ever to release a book. I've had so many sleepless nights. We couldn't have picked it worse. However, I like to think, and you've touched on it there, it is lighthearted. It does give an insight into what the families and the soldiers of the ADF, I would say, go through. And I hope that it's a counterbalance to the negative press that's around at the moment and the grave matters before us all as a community.
Yeah, Harry, I think that's going to play an important role in mitigating some of that, because it's going to give people like me and others an insight into it. I say to everyone out there, do yourself a favour, pick up this book. It's a great stocking stuffer. It's not for children, but it's a fantastic read. But Harry, before I let you go, I need your prediction. As a cricket fan, are you going to go to the Boxing Day Test in Melbourne, where you're based, firstly? And are the Aussies going to clean up the Indians all through the whole series?
Well, yes, I'm going to the Boxing Day Test. I've seized a few tickets, Cory, so I'm very happy to say. I think what I'd say, India is a fantastic foe for us. It's always welcome here in Australia, and I've been to India and watched Australia versus India there, and it's always a hard-fought contest. What I would say about our chances over the next series or the coming series is there's some great opportunities for particularly the top-order bats to take their chances, and there's a bit of contest around in the batting department, which is nice to think about for the Australian stocks for the future. But I'd say to the top guys, whoever gets in opening, grab it with both hands and make it count, because there's plenty behind you looking for a spot.
Harry Moffitt, enjoy the cricket, and thanks so much for joining me tonight.
Thanks, Cory. It's been great. Cheers.